Welcome, everyone, to this week's conversation for 100 Women to Watch. We have a very exciting panel today about aligned ambition. This is the success in the age of energetic intelligence. We've got emotional intelligence, we got all kinds of other intelligence. Energetic intelligence is one that we get to take into consideration as well. Right now, success is being redefined, especially for a lot of women leaders. Like the old models of hustle and overextension and constant output, and all that is just not sustainable anymore, or aligned, to be honest. So instead, a new kind of leadership is emerging, and it's one that's rooted in wholeness, in discernment, and in energetic integrity. So today's conversation explores how women are leading from a place where peace, where pleasure, and purpose stand shoulder to shoulder with profit. We're going to unpack what it means to build ambition that honors the body, respects boundaries, and also allows intuition to be a strategic asset rather than an afterthought. It's not something that we just tack on at the end. It's something that it comes from. So this panel is an invitation to really consider success not as something that you chase, but more with something that you align with and learn how to use your energetic intelligence so that it becomes a powerful tool for sustainable impact. All right, y'all, let's begin. Awesome. Thank you to those who are in the audience as well. Very happy that you're here, and we love that you're a part of the conversation. Here's our first question for the panelists. When you hear the phrase aligned ambition, what does it mean to you personally? And anyone can pick this up.
I've been in a major journey of, and hello, my sister from another mother, Marie Vega, burn with your headphones on while working. And we are here with Kai Cole, who Marie had a chance to meet in person years ago. So thank you, my sister from another mother. Aligned means today's one of those days where I wasn't so sure about my energy. So today's one of those days that was an opportunity for what I like to call realignment. And I'm a certified trust coach. And as part of that trust journey, it's getting deeper and deeper every day. It's getting deeper in terms of how we define our age. And I hit a milestone age last birthday, as my brother's about to hit a milestone age, as friends hit a milestone age. And for some of us, it's a milestone age that we acknowledge during the pandemic. So the part about intelligence, I'm also in the positive intelligence community, but at the same time, amazing Yvette Bethel of Organizational Soul mentioned trust styles in a conference. And I had a course about styles, and I was stuck on what goes into that container. And the intelligence part was when she mentioned trust styles, I was like, I've got to talk to this wonderful woman. And she didn't know me from Adam. And the funny part is, in terms of intelligence, instinctively in my gut, in every core, as I'm now in a cycle where I understand I'm discharging cellular debris, and I'm trying not to let it hit on anybody else. The intelligence part is when we lean in with breath work, when we lean in, the gifts come. As my sister from another mother, who's the reason I am a strategist and a coach now, as I located a gift yesterday from a woman who says nothing is impossible, the reminder from a perspective of energy, I've been talking for years about returns on energies, and I'm now sharing about returns on sustainable energies and returns on sage energies. I love flowers. So let's think of a rose, and thank you for a chance to join you today.
Thank you, Melanie.
Oh, hi. Yeah, thank you, Melanie. That was great. I love your energy. Speaking of energy, and yeah, really glad to be here talking about these topics. It's amazing that you are highlighting this. It is exactly, I agree, where we are, where women are, where success is, in the energetics and alignment. So for me, it's the goals that I'm intending to accomplish. They're aligned with my core values and my soul's purpose. And I have a commitment to myself to use this as a touchstone to check in with myself. Am I doing what's aligned with, hi, oh, hi, Melody. Am I aligned with those values and my soul's purpose? Because if I'm not, it's not for me.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And for me, it's gotten to a point where it's how I live my life. It's all about energy and, feeling that alignment. And I have seen such amazing shifts in my work. Kai, as you had said, the old model of hustling and no downtime and just burning yourself out. It doesn't make sense to me anymore. And I don't think it works. So it's been a very interesting, I hate to use the word journey, but it really has been, and I find in my relationships with my friends, and really with my clients as well, I can always tell if I'm aligned with a client. And, there are synchronicities that I look for. And at this point in time, if I don't feel that, it's not a business relationship I want to pursue. I just think, when you're aligned, then you create incredible things. And when you're not, you're just beating yourself up and it just doesn't make sense.
Got it. And I'm curious because you're talking about alignment and how it is that you move forward and choose, right? But what are the signals maybe when you're already engaged that ambition is aligned while you're in the doing of the thing versus when it's driven by maybe pressure or expectation? What could that look like?
Okay, I'm jumping in on this one.
Cool.
I think it has become for me an innate knowing. I can feel it and I can sense it. And it's almost like that gut feeling you get or those spidey senses. And, life is short. And I think we've all paid our dues at this point in time. We've all hustled a really long time. And now I think you kind of want to catch your breath. And if you don't love what you do and it doesn't resonate and you get that feeling, I think you got to acknowledge it and say, okay, this isn't for me right now.
Got it. I hear you, especially with the right now discernment. And we can just take this out into the larger picture. I also want to throw another question in there, which is how has your definition of success kind of like shifted then as you've grown as a leader? Because maybe we've been aligning to something that was like, the 1985 version of that kitchen remodel, but there's maybe a new version that we can start aligning to. So yeah, we might be aligned, but what are we aligning to? What is your definition of success that you're aligning to?
I'm going to frame this through amazing Carla Sellers, who's one of my small and mighty team members, a lens that Carla gave me when we first started working together a little bit over 4 years ago. And I'm saying this as we're about to celebrate her birthday. I had to realize success is not something that I will ever define in this lifetime. It's something through the lens that Carla and I, because she's been with me from the beginning on our trust journey, and we're now 4 years deep as she's been around on the other side of the certifications. And Carla suggested years ago, she says, Mel, you need to really lean into your willingness to talk about gratitude, grief, and growth. And I tell her, and she'll laugh because we talked about this last night. I said, Carla, your suggestion, you helped me change my trust lens. That is what success means. That in the journey of discarding cellular debris, of being a survivor of childhood trauma, and not in the sense of people being able to see it externally. As Joanie said, that tapping into your gut, which now, thanks to fabulous coaches through human design and my small and mighty team, success can be an illusion. You think you have it, and the next day you wake up and you don't know where your lipstick is, and you can't find the keys to your car, and your kids aren't listening to you. And that dish that you started on the stove, I made kale chips last week. Well, they weren't like the kale chips from the week before that I used vegetable oil because I couldn't find the olive oil. As women and as people, the supplies, the ingredients, and Carla helped me tap into what I'd say now is like Mel's recipe. It's about the ingredients that we bring to a table, to a recipe. There's a picture on my LinkedIn profile of a beautiful cake our cousin made. It reminded me of Nana. It reminded me of the core. So success now is being able to acknowledge that at one point, as we approach Black History Month through a world with a unique lens, as we're in what I call a complex AI fragile world, as I'm reconnected with Kai, woo, it's an illusion because it can be fleeting, like the water we drink, like the air we breathe. So I had to learn through Carla's lens, stop holding my breath and acknowledging that the introvert people didn't see, to let her out and play. So they knew it's okay sometime to acknowledge there are dim corners, to acknowledge there are what I call trust shadows, to acknowledge people call me a trust optimist. I say I'm certified because I was a trust pessimist. So success seems, when I met Kai, the energy we felt when you meet together. And I think that's the part about energetic intelligence. I meet people and I know I'm going to hire them. They don't know yet. I know I'm going to hire them within the first or the second time we're meeting. On the other hand, there are the people who, by the third time I know, I'll sit at a different table. They're not about to extend their hand and welcome. They're not about to open a door. They're not about to offer a seat, and they're not about to offer a hand. And that's the part in this age, at this milestone, I'm able to acknowledge it as we celebrate next week my mom's birthday, my aunt's birthday, and the birthday of the youngest member of our family, my brother's first grandchild. The lens part, trust lens, vision lens, contact lens, sunglasses, change your seat, change your perspective. And as you change it, find someone gentle that you love, that you can share it with and say hi to along the way. Someone that ride or die person. You got a bunch of them, and hopefully, as you need to be in rooms also like rooms with Kai, with the right energy, with the perfect energy. I call it sage energy, sustainable energies. Sage I learned in the positive intelligence world, but I learned sustainable stuff in the trust world.
Got it. There are different worlds that we're operating in, and we get to integrate them in the way that we show up. We are the integration of those worlds. Awesome. Thank you, Melanie. We got tons of things that we can talk about here. So I'm going to introduce yet another one and just put it in the pot here and see what we can get from this. And that is, what role does intuition play in your strategy? Oh, I see Joanie's got this. And how did you learn to trust it? What did that look like?
Oh my gosh. First of all, Melanie, you're right on. I just want to say right on. I love what you're talking about. It so resonates with me. Intuition, Kai. It seems it's where it's from the place I now work. It's this very intuitive place. And I don't really know. I think for me, becoming far more intuitive has been a result of really making a lot of shifts in my life and my work. But I think meditation has been huge. And I think this element of trust. And I find like through my work, and I think you and I actually talked about this, that I've been a publicist really, I feel like my entire life. And, from there, I started doing business coaching and consulting. But I have for many years had this ability to go into a situation, meet with a prospective client, talk to somebody who's maybe whatever they're doing is landing flat. And it's this intuitive download that I get. And I could package it and share it with the world, I would, but it is just how I live. It's just my life. It's just, I just say it's downloads from the universe. And I intuitively know. I look, I know the path that they need to take. I know the steps, what they're doing now, how they have to change. And it's so crazy to me because number one, I thought everyone had this gift. And about 15 years ago, I remember coming out of a meeting and I called a friend of mine and I said, "Oh my God, I thought they don't see it. They don't see things the way I do." And she started laughing at me because it is such a gift that I have been given. And I am consistently blown away because it never fails me. It just doesn't. So, and like I said, every situation, every person, it's never the same, but it is always spot on.
Yeah, I relate with both of what you're saying. Of course, this all resonates. I do think everyone's capable of it, but I think there's what kind of I'm just going to bring together everything you guys have been saying. I'll try. We go through this journey of life, and we learn about ourselves and try to figure out why we're here, try to remember why we're here, and start making choices. I think that that intuition is truth to me, and it's how it's what I use it to live my life. It's everything. It's in everything I do, and but I didn't trust it. I didn't trust myself for a long time. I didn't know how, and I've been cultivating that over years now. It's that trust in the truth of who I am, and I think our society really doesn't encourage us to do that, to trust in ourselves, in the truth that we know, in a source bigger than what we're being told, or trying to control us. And I agree with you. It's magical. It's special, and a lot of people aren't using it. And so much to say here, but for me, and go back to this, it's a touchstone. It's something I've come to. I think even when you've been through childhood trauma, as Melanie was talking about, and I've experienced that and a lot of healing around that. That part of it is not trusting. We don't have that center core self to trust. We're just living in survival and responding to others and protecting or taking care of others. And through that healing, and when we don't trust that, there's almost like this fear to access our true self and our intuition. I was even just talking with somebody I'm working with who has been feeling so much peace and calm lately because he's been able to just be with himself in silence and really appreciate it, when that was the scariest thing to do a month ago. It's amazing that the scariest thing that we almost don't want to touch is the place of the most wonderful comfort, love, joy, peace that we can find.
And I just want to add, Susan, I love that. And I think, you know, for everybody it's different, but maybe baby steps for people that really are not sure how that feels or whether they can trust. And like I was saying about that feeling in your gut, just start with baby steps and see. Because I do think everybody has intuition, and it's you know, you can't be afraid of it. You've got to, you know, let it sit and be a little bit comfortable with it and see where it takes you. But I think it always guides you to your highest and greatest good and potential.
Practice, 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 right?
On the other hand, you're also reminding me as sometimes from a spiritual center or from a past some sort of inherited lens through which there's a fear of instincts. Or intuition. One of the things that I love is Yvette Bethel during a Say Yes to Me course that really changed my life. And Yvette will say, it's based on Chandra Rhimes's book. But Yvette, in her course, she taught me about the three eyes, that sometimes in the instincts and the intuitions, we're not aligned with that. That others are more comfortable calling it instincts. Others are more uncomfortable and sometimes calling it insights. We call it different things. And I was delighted to listen to a recent, and it's Lanier Johnston of Link Ability and Sigrid de Cost, who does some intense, fabulous online networking events. They had a conversation about language, the way we use words across cultures, across communities, across genders, identities, across our learning styles, across our personality styles. And we could keep just adding on. And as Kai was saying, from you were saying before, from that lens of truth, whether it resonates or not. I finally just had a copy of Audre Lorde's book. Reminds me of the change your words, change your world. And our silence will not protect us. There are things that we're not comfortable sharing out loud. And I am honored to be an almost 17-year member of Kellyanne Costal Larrier's Fearless Hudson Valley board that'll celebrate our 40th anniversary on April 17th at the Celebration of Hope Gala. Now, in that lens, I had to learn. Kellyanne helped me in her first meeting, which was my second meeting. Kellyanne said, hey, who wants to read a pamphlet on trauma? And I, who had been sitting there that first meeting doing nothing other than using my pen and smiling and introduced myself, my hands shot up. The language, the lens, something Jan Jeremiah is in the audience, and Jan has taught me. She does yoga. She talks about grief. We need to be really, really careful with our terms sometimes, to really think and always act as if our kids are watching. And really think, as you're saying, is it my StreamYard zapped last week with a client speaking mid-sentence, speaking her truth. We just really need to lean into that. But regardless of how we define intelligence, how we define energy, what the lens is, how we define success, just there's another human on the other side, which I think is the other part of energy. Hopefully they're kind. Hopefully they're caring. Hopefully they're welcoming. Hopefully they treat their children and our children or future generations with grace. But if we don't lean into your title today, they may not have that opportunity. And we need to leave that as a gift.
Thank you. Thank you. There's a lot in terms of the zoomed out lens that you just presented, Melanie, with thinking about future generations. Energetics can often be a lot about what's here right now. And as you present that other lens, there's a whole lot that comes up as well, to consider. Much appreciated. There was also a comment earlier about practices. What are the practices that help you stay connected to purpose, especially when the work becomes really demanding? And I'm going to leave the term the work as intentionally vague and see where we go with this. And anyone can pick this up.
Quickly, there's always a pen nearby. I'm a journaler. I'm an aspiring author. There's always a pen nearby. And I'm grateful because there's always someone around to remind us of breath work. I'm not conscious as a caregiver, as a member of the sandwich generation. I'm not always conscious of when I hold my breath. So I'm really grateful to be surrounded by amazing people, breath work and reading. I followed Jeffrey Davis of Tracking Wonder, and I'm really excited because he's got a vision lab next week. And the vision lab, it's been almost 7.5 years since I took the last one, and I just found the notes yesterday. Thanks to Marie Vega Byrne.
No coincidences, I bet. Got it. Joanie, Susan?
I'll share. Yes, breath work. Different types, even just, 4 minutes. 4 minutes of slow, deep breaths can actually help reset your nervous system. So just even that, you set a timer and you don't have to do anything special. You can, and generally, when we're stressed, it's hard to take a deep breath. And in our system, sometimes, because our brains tend to think speeding up is better, which is not true, but we're convinced we should go faster. So sometimes, even when we want to slow down, our system doesn't even want to slow down with us. So it's hard to even get 3 counts of breath in. So sometimes you just start with 1, 2, and exhale 1, 2, and then you expand it as you give yourself a little bit more time. But I'm really leaning into my commitments with myself and my self-care. And, I've heard this all my life, but now I'm really starting to take it and understand it. But, good nourishment, a good night's sleep, like getting those regularly, processing with my therapist or my community, because I also only really want authentic, transparent, loving relationships. Spending time in nature, spending time quietly with yourself. Again, that being able to trust that you'll be okay and that you'll enjoy that time with yourself, growing that experience of yourself and your time with the universe or God. Being able to just have quiet time, also to allow the truth, the intuition, the gut instinct to bubble up and come through. And I'll just say a couple more things. I like to take baths. I like to sing. And I even was doing some singing today just to remind me of my voice and how much it's joy. Oh, and having pleasure. Getting pleasure and creativity. That's some of the things.
I go back to, for me, meditation. I had a business coach years ago that shared with me, as his day got really busy and he would be going from, one client to another, he literally would stop. And even if it was for 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, he would stop and meditate. And between the breath work that he began with, I have found that is such a great way to shift things for me. And I have a problem grounding myself because I'm very much of an idea girl and I get so excited for every idea that I have for a client. And that has been so vital for me. I mean, for me, things like I have a puppy and I sometimes, again, just to kind of bring things down a little bit, if I put my hand on him and I feel his heartbeat, it is very, very, very soothing and kind of really slows me down. I've also found coloring. I get these like coloring books and I use colored pencils, and it is the most amazing way to shift my thoughts so quickly. And of course, walking. But I think, you know, we're all so immersed in what we do, and we all, as Susan said, you know, self-care, and you've got to practice whatever those things are so that you are the best version of you can be. And it's not always easy, but I think whatever that looks like for each person, you got to set that time aside, again, even if it's 3 minutes or 5 minutes or half an hour, whatever it is.
Got it. Got it. I'm over here like, I'm like, nobody can hear me, but there's a lot of resonance with what you're saying. And I'm curious if we can, we've commented about the self, right? What's also one small shift that women out there who are watching what's a shift that they can make today to lead from greater alignment? Is there something that we've encountered that we really feel compelled to share, you know, that perhaps can be enjoyed by the greater population?
I think breathing. I think literally stopping and being very intentional about breathing is a really good start. Here's maybe a quick one. I have the Calm app on my phone, and for me, there's something about Jay Shetty's voice that instantaneously transforms me, you know, to a very Zen place. So maybe try one of those things.
That's incredible. Incredible app, incredible resources that we have available to us in a digital manner these days. It's like they weren't joking when they said there's an app for that. And you know, and energy can be very much tied to mindset. I'm also kind of like poking now into the world of mindset, if there's a way that, like, maybe one of those lenses that Melanie was talking about, we could pull one of those out and talk about what that lens could be that can help people shift into greater alignment, or greater leadership, or stewardship. Or do we have a word for being a community member? Community membership. There we go. I guess I did say one there, and that is thinking about the community. Thinking about the community that, oh yeah, it includes me too. That single lens changed my life. It changed my life in a way that I didn't expect, because I didn't know that there was this extra person. It's like, how many people are in the room? Okay, there's 1, 2, 3. Oh, shoot, there's actually 4. When we start to incorporate ourselves, you know, into the shift, into the environment, into the growth, into the integration, then there's just this whole other world that gets to be a part of the greater landscape. I'll move into another one because we've got so many things to talk about here.
Well said.
Thank you. What does aligned ambition look like in seasons of expansion versus seasons of contraction in your experiences?
Oh, want to go ahead? Okay. I feel like in a season of expansion, aligned ambition, actually, I think I thought of this differently. Well, aligned ambition means, so in a season of expansion, I feel like you're getting in, I'll say I'm getting information kind of back from the world that says, yeah, you're going in the direction that you want to. You're aligned. And I think so maybe I'm getting reflections back from people or my community that I can actually detect in some way. And I feel like in times of contraction, I may not be getting those in a palpable way that I can sense. There's still things working under the surface for my benefit. but I may not be picking up on them. And to me, it's the idea is that the aligned ambition, it keeps going as a through line through that, no matter whether there's contraction or expansion, that I keep, because it's not about what's happening externally. It's what's happening in here and what I believe in, and staying true to that, and keep on focusing on why. What do I want? Why am I here? What am I here to do? What matters to me? What does my intuition tell me? It continues to be the same for me, whether in contraction or expansion, though it may be different work for me, and I might need more support, or need to ground into my self-care or my breathing more, and take better care of myself during those times where I'm not maybe sensing those things, because I need more faith during those times generally. I might. I know I do. Maybe other people don't. Let me talk for myself. Um, yeah.
Thank you. Joanie, Mel?
I think for me, when things are aligned, I feel it and I get really, really excited about it. And it's kind of like those, I don't believe in coincidences. So all of the pieces start coming together, whether it is, you know, clients that really resonate with, as Susan was saying, her purpose. Um, I it's kind of like there is a peacefulness and a calm, yet an excitement. And I think I find that when I don't have that and there's that constriction, I have to really, there's a lot of self-talk that goes on throughout my day with myself. And I have to identify, okay, what's real, what are you're spinning out about something and there's no basis for it. But it's, if I don't feel that alignment, it's, things are moving where I don't want them to go. But I think it's a very intentional process for me, that it is really, we're going back to practice. There are these skill sets that you develop that you have to maybe not necessarily do on an hourly basis. But I think that that's part of this, because as wonderful as it feels to get, to be aligned with your ambition and where you're going, we're all human, and we can get off track. So I think being able to acknowledge that and not beat yourself up is a really, really great skill set to practice.
I think that's great. And you said maybe not every day. I think sometimes it's moment to moment, right? It's now, 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 the present moment, getting back to the present moment and what's actually there, instead of what our mind is creating out of fear, or that contraction of like not quite seeing the fruits of our labor, or feeling a response from the world or the universe to what we are doing.
I also think in that feeling sometimes of contraction, that's when I'm grateful for the deep dives, for the strengthening opportunity to strengthen my faith walk, for the opportunity to lean into one of the different journals. So I have a trust journal, I have a gratitude journal. During the pandemic, I started I'm Possible Live Love and Gratitude Journal. And it started because I took an I'm Possible magnet that had been on the old refrigerator for decades. It was a sign of a quest, of a willingness to explore. In contraction, I explore. And I explore internally, explore with other friends, other people who may be in that same state. And Jan was around, and I thank Jan for helping me identify this lens recently. I call it a sacred pause now. And Jan typed it in a message, and then poof, it led to our next, like hour and a half conversation. I'm really grateful for her. She's got an amazing group, Spirit Born Imagining. She does wonderful retreats. And I'm looking forward to meeting Jan in person this spring. What I learned was in contraction, some people, like the angels on earth, they understand that in a contraction stage, we're working on some sort of internal realignment. We may be stuck. We need a hand. Um, Jan's the one, hey, haven't heard from you in a while. How are you doing? That I hear you, I see you, I feel you in the contraction. That is what leads to alignment. In contraction, I'm in a state of realignment. In an expansion state, and as Carla and Anne and Eve, who popped up last week, and people who know, in a state of expansion, we're increasing the energy. And I think in that point, hopefully we're sharing some of those returns on sustainable energies I talked about, those return on sage energies. On the same token, the alignment and the realignment have helped me tap into and resolve the childhood trauma. Yes, with help of amazing friend, but also through the lens that there are no accidents. This is about divine timing. And that, I think, is a key to, you want to be in the right place, right space, right time. And that part, whether it's contraction or expansion, that's the part I had to juggle. We have all the puzzle pieces. They're in a bag. We may not know what the next piece is. We don't know what piece is missing from the puzzle. And that's why leaning into others really helps. And Kai popped up during that sacred pause. No accidents. So thank you, my darling.
You're very welcome. Absolutely. Absolutely. And Dr. Pam Perry, as you're joining us, if you could kindly talk about what is one way that maybe women can assess whether their current goals are energetically sustainable or not. I think when we get into the or not part, that's when it starts to look like hustle and grind and bypass and all of these things. And of course, you're welcome to share what that looks like for you and your sustainable practices.
One of the things that I really, really love, and this is probably since my 20s, was Speakers Magazine. Really was the inspiration from Essence, from Susan Taylor, who will be 80 tomorrow. But she used to write a column called In the Spirit. So in my 20s, I would be like, in the spirit, what is this about? I'm just trying to get essence and read about the fashion and the makeup. But in the spirit was that sacred time that she talked about going deep within, listening to God, really understanding your dreams. And that is really the start of really, I guess you would say, the path that I really got on in terms of really getting in touch with a little bit deeper in terms of being more spiritual. So in the spirit, she's been doing that for probably 50 years now, but it really was a part of me to really understand that. And not just like Bible and all that kind of stuff, but just really getting in touch with who you are on the inside. And I just find that when you really are in touch with sitting still, making a list, I'm a big list person, what it is that you need to fix in your life, what it is that you love about your life, what it is that you need to share more about your life. I mean, that just those lists, and keeping journals. Journals are important. It helps you work out and work through a lot of the stuff without having to just tell everybody everything, but journal. So I'll go back maybe from my journals from my 20s, some journals from my 30s, some journals from my 40s. Like, ooh, I've come a long way, right? Because I'll be 66. So I was like, ooh, I've come a long way. So I still keep journals to this day to really write out what it is that basically it's like my journal to God, or really asking God or working things out with God on paper. So that's really, really important to work it out on paper.
Absolutely incredible. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
You're welcome. this is our final question. And assessing sustainability, it's important for a lot of reasons. So we can go into maybe some considerations that we've had, for ourselves to kind of, create and curate our lives so that what we're doing actually fits and is actually aligned. By the way, you can find Pam Perry, Dr. Pam Perry, at pamperrypr.com. And you can see that underneath Dr. Perry's name. And let's continue. And now I'm gonna choose here, Joanie, if you could comment on this. What are the ways that you assess whether your current goals are energetically sustainable, and also where can people find you?
That is such an incredible question. And I think I've seen a huge shift, as I mentioned earlier, in my work. And I am finding now, while again, I have been a publicist for over 30 years, that the concept of helping people really understand what makes them unique, what their superpowers are, and how to really help them leverage that to really increase their visibility. And again, there are people that I think are just missing the mark.
Mhm.
For me, that shift feels very sustainable. Um, Also, in terms of lifestyle, I have 2 kids that live, one in Seattle and one in Denver.
Yeah.
I have created a business with clients that I'm aligned with so that
Yeah.
I can work, and my clients are all over the country at this point, but
Mhm.
I can work from anywhere. So for me, that model is sustainable. But that's a model that didn't happen overnight. Uh,
Mhm.
so that has been something that I have worked towards.
Mhm.
And I'm sure I will continue to refine as, time continues, because I I love what I do. I love
Yes.
helping people, and I feel in many ways I am surrounded by people that are slowing down and retiring, and I'm
Yes.
revving up. I mean, it's so interesting to me. I
Yeah.
I I'm energized by my love of my work.
Okay.
So, yeah, so I think, the sustainability factor has been a work in progress, but I'm
Mhm.
happy with where that is going. And people can find me. My website is befrankcommunications.com. Uh,
Mhm.
I'm at Joanie Frank on Instagram.
Mhm.
My Facebook, I think, is Joanie Frank. No, I'm not sure what the Facebook is, but you can find me in those other places. And I, would love to hear from people. And Kai, thank you so much. I have so enjoyed, being on this panel today. You are just incredible.
Thank you, and likewise. We're just going to go right down the line here. Susan, if you would contribute to this topic as well, and to let people know where it is that they can find you out in the world and online.
Will you reiterate the question,
Absolutely. The
please?
question is, how can women assess whether their current goals are energetically sustainable, and what has that looked like for you personally?
I'm going to start with myself. Thank you. Um, so I have decided, I've made a decision about myself, about my goals, that the sky's the limit and anything is possible. That's where I'm choosing to live. And in terms of whether they're sustainable or not, that's all about me paying attention to myself. And like I've been talking about with these practices, as somebody was writing in the comments, coming back to sustaining myself. And if I can sustain myself in being in alignment with myself and committed to my exercise, I'm finding amazing commitment with that. I didn't even know, I'm kind of surprised how that has been nurturing me to keep with that commitment. And Kai, you've even supported me in that, and I appreciate that. Um, how that's been feeding back to my strength and reminding me how strong I am and how capable I am. My meditation practice, the same thing, and also that silence with myself and with source. Um, it's all nurturing me in a way that, and all these other, my food, my community, time, dancing, being creative, all of these things are the things that are sustaining me and fulfilling me, and also keeping in touch with my why. And I'm also really learning to not only practice but feel into, how do I want to feel, and allowing myself to live there, rather than where, and recognizing that where my mind goes is not always where I want to be, and what I want. What I mean, the mind does things on its own. And I pay close attention to my thoughts, and my choice of thoughts, and my words, um, so that I'm continuing to align, pay attention, stay connected. Um, and that's what I'm relying on to sustain me, and fulfill me, and keep fueling me to go after every single dream I've ever had, no matter how big. And I'm really glad to be here. I'm grateful to all of you. And Kai, the work you're doing is amazing, truly amazing. And you can find me at susanscharfmd.com. I am on Facebook as Susan Scharf, and I don't have the other information available right now. Thank you.
That's plenty. Thank you so much for sharing that from your perspective, and also just leaning into wisdom here. Mel, will you also kindly share what it looks like to assess whether your current goals are energetically sustainable or not, and how maybe people can assess, and how you have previously?
Mentioning it before, I used to use the lens of returns on energies and engagement, and sharing that in over the years, just in conversations about things I measure. I'm the former finance major who doesn't measure things in terms of returns on investment. I leaned into that energetic expression. And from the goals perspective, I also encourage others to lean into measuring returns on opportunities and objectives. From an energy perspective, I stopped setting the word of the year, which was almost a 20-year tradition. I have themes of the year, and leaning into what your themes are, so that the words don't limit you and you don't feel that they define you or restrict you. Because I think, in terms of energy, energy is infinite. And I learned this from this deep self trust journey. Trust is an emotion. Our emotions are energies. And sometimes we're not in spaces where we are comfortable sharing them. So, taking that in from an energetic perspective and using that lens, that's how I would frame measuring whether they're sustainable or not. If it's not a place that lights you up, there's a reason why. When you return, are you returning with your bestie? Are you returning with someone else who'll share a different lens? But the reminder to just slow down and kind of breathe into it. And from that perspective, as Kai says, there are no accidents. There's divine timing. And that, does it align with your current energies? Does it align not with your current goals, but maybe with your dreams? Give yourself, as Dr. Pam Perry mentions about Essence Magazine, give yourself the freedom to dream in full color. Give yourself that opportunity. And on the days when it's black and white, those, as we said before, that's that season of contraction. Lean in. And as Kai would say, great places to find me are on the LinkedIn profile link that's underneath me, and that Be Visible with Mel, which is on Facebook. And it doesn't have the E after the B. It's just the letter B, Jeffrey Davis of Tracking Wonder, that's his gift of seeing his keynote. The letter B, the word visible with Mel to remind the introvert to come out and play. And now play with full color.
Thank you, Mel. And if we can come right back around, Dr. Perry, will you kindly share more about the things that you are up to? And I heard that you had a big launch the other day. How's it going?
Unmute here. Yeah, it was really being visible. So really getting a leading edge network is a TV streaming platform, leadingedge.tv, and really launching 30 people who have shows, subject matter experts, getting out there and getting known. That's my main thing, is pushing them out there, push them a little bit out of their comfort zone. And that's really good. So we're in the process of getting it going, and a lot of them are like, wait, I'm not ready. Yes, you are ready. You're ready. We can course correct as we go. And a lot of perfectionists were just having a whole freak out about it, but I said, let's just go. We can course correct as we go. So just get it going. The hardest part is not having a good idea. The hardest part is executing the idea. And that's what I am. I'm an activator and want people to execute. It's funny too, Kai, because one of the things, my word for the year was alignment. And I feel that if it's not in alignment with you, if there's a lot of tugging back and forth, or you just don't feel it in your gut that this is the right thing, then let it go. I've been known to just remove myself from certain circles, or just really just block people on my phone. Yes, I've done that when it doesn't feel in alignment. And if it's not in alignment with you, you're going to struggle and you'll have so much stress. Now, there is a learning season if you are in a period of struggle. But even then, that learning season, you should know that it has a purpose. But if you're just struggling and there is no purpose other than the fact that you're just outdone and I'm over it, then you're not out of an alignment. And so you need to sit with yourself and get in alignment, get in the spirit, get in your journal, pray, meditate, kind of like what Joanie said, that, you have those practices that you do. I love to dance as well. So you will find me shamelessly dancing on TikTok, unabashedly, not embarrassed at all, trying all the latest TikTok trends. There was one that was, I think it was Law and Order. Could not get it, but I love Law and Order, so I was trying that one. So you want to do the things every day. Add something to your life that's fun. Add something to your life that's fun, and speak with people that you enjoy speaking with. If they are a hassle and they are vampires to your energy, let them go. Let them go. Block, delete, whatever you have to do. Or as much, if they're family, then just remove yourself from them as much as you can. But really, thank you, Kai, so much for really having this conversation. I appreciate this. You're doing a really good work, really doing the good work. And that the 100 Women to Watch, thank you so much for bringing this platform, because we are bringing our voices out and sharing. And I met some really cool people, Joanie, Dr. Susan, Melanie. So thank you so much. And you can find everything that you need at PamPerryPR.com. That's where I am across the internet. Just PamPerryPR.com. You'll find my Instagram, my TikTok, all that stuff at PamPerryPR.com.
Excellent. Congratulations on your launch. Thank you all for being here. Melanie, Joanie, Dr. Susan, Dr. Pam, appreciate you much. And as we close today's conversation, we're reminded that aligned ambition is not about necessarily doing less. It's maybe about doing what matters from the right place, right? Energetic intelligence invites us to lead from awareness, to honor our capacity to build success that's not only visible, but sustainable. And also, when women lead from wholeness, we create movements. We create businesses. We create lives that are resilient and magnetic and deeply impactful. So thank you so much to each of our panelists for your insights and leadership. Thank you to the viewers for being a part of this conversation and for joining us with your presence. May you leave today feeling empowered to pursue ambition that really feels nourishing, that feels grounded, that feels true. to who it is that you are becoming. And until next time, let's may your leadership be aligned so that your success is really, really expansive. So thank you all so much, and bye for now.